Hey, 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 my friend, what's going on? Cindy Harvey here of cindyharveyonline.com, and huge welcome to you to this week's edition. This is episode number 11 of Career Q&A, and this is where I help you and I guide you through your career challenges, and I share everything that I've learned about women at work through my 15 plus year career in HR leadership. I was able to grab a ton of insight over those years, and I just love sharing that to help you get promoted so that you can have a bigger impact and truly live up to your professional potential. Like, who doesn't want that, right? And this platform is really all about helping more women to grow and to develop and to step into leadership roles in the corporate world and to help make as many companies as possible places where everyone thrives. And we do that, in my opinion, by helping more women get into leadership roles. So, are you ready to dive into this week's topic? So today, the question that I'm answering is, Cindy, I deliver amazing results at work. So why do I still feel invisible and overlooked? Oh, so good. Can you relate to this at all? Because let me tell you, this one really hits close to my heart because that was me. 100% I was that person. And when I think about the places that I got stuck in my career and even where the majority of my clients are stuck when we start working together, it's in a very, very similar place. For me, I always did really great work, and that was something that I was very proud of. I had big jobs with a lot of responsibility, and I was rewarded for the contribution that I made along the way. I made a solid six-figure salary, had a big team, had that sexy title, and all the things that come with it. But I often felt like I was creating this success in what I like to call the corporate shadows. And I often felt like the best kept secret, working really hard and only getting so far. And I always felt like I had more to give. I had more potential to live up to. But the biggest gap for me, looking back now, was that I just didn't know what else I needed to do. So I just kept doing what I knew to do and what had helped me get to the place that I was able to get to in my career. But over time, that turned into a plateau that I was standing on for years. And I continued to work really hard to produce great quality results that I again took pride in. And I took on the position or the mindset that my work should speak for itself because it was really that good. So I did more and more and more. And my mindset was, hey, it worked for me before doing this, working in this way, focused with my head down. Doing that helped me to create what I have today. So it must work now too, right? But what I learned is that, when we get to a certain level professionally, it has to be about more than just the work. It has to be about more than producing results. But don't get me wrong, the quality of your work must always be there. Like, that's a given. Make that assumption and know that doing great work can only take you so far, though. Beyond that point, you have to add new skills, new strategies, new habits, new ways of thinking to your toolkit. And if you desire to really live up to your potential and make the impact that you know you can make and get the rewards from that and create your beautiful life in the way that you imagine for yourself, then please pay close attention to what I'm sharing here. Because for me, I just wish that I had someone to help me learn about those extra pieces that I needed to add. Those new skill sets, those new strategies. I just didn't know about them, and I just didn't have the direction or the mentorship or the guidance to move in those new directions. And without these, by continuing to do more of the same at my level, I was actually getting in my own way instead of helping to move myself forward. Super interesting, right? And what this speaks to is the need to evolve. As your career grows, you continuously need to do that too, and you need to stretch yourself into new directions. And just to be clear, I'm not talking about just with your professional or your technical expertise. You definitely need to make investments there. But what I'm really focused on is how you manage and navigate your career that also needs to grow and evolve as you get further on in your career path, and especially as you move into higher ranks within the corporate world. So today I'm going to talk you through 5 habits that I had that really got in my way and kept my brand, kept my career stuck on a plateau that was really flatlining for years. And all of this was happening while I was struggling to figure out how to climb up on my own and manage my growing frustration in the process and live my life on top of all of that. My hands were definitely full. So as I'm taking you through these 5 ways that I was showing up, getting in my own way, grab your pen, grab your notebook, and make note of the ones that resonate with you the most. And I'll invite you at the end to comment on the one takeaway that you're getting from these 5 lessons that I'm sharing with you today. So let's dive in. Habit number 1, I didn't face the truth. I'm used to being a problem solver. I have an endless supply of ideas. I can think and strategize my way through most situations. And I did this not just in my work, but also with my career plateau and the frustration that I was feeling with being invisible. I kept thinking, okay, Cindy, there's got to be a way. I can figure this out. Let me try one more time. Let me do this instead of that. But by doing all of those things, I overlooked that sometimes it's really more about seeing the reality of the situation and just accepting it and exiting stage left if it just doesn't fit anymore. Not everything can or should be fixed. Not every situation is one that you're meant to stay in for a long period of time. What's important is to get real about what's not working and know that at some point, it's okay when it's time to move on. And in my case, I can say that my drive to fix kept me in jobs that just didn't fit me, and I stayed there for way too long. And looking back, I can see that now, but at the time, I was just really driven and focused on there's got to be a way. I can figure this out. I can fix this. I fix things. I help people with their problems. That was what I was paid to do. That's what was happening in my life outside of work as well. And I took that same mentality and that same approach to trying to fix this career stalemate that I was in. And unfortunately, it just didn't allow me to see that I had just outgrown where I was and it was time to move on. So me not facing the truth became one of those habits that really worked to keep me stuck much longer than I needed to be. All right, so that's the first one. Habit number 2 is I didn't embrace my ambitions. I wanted more. I knew this deep inside and it always followed me. I carried that kind of feeling and that thought for a really long time. But what I didn't see was that it was my job, not anyone else's, my job to tap into my desire for more and ultimately to bring it to life. That was up to me. I had to learn to accept my ambition, to nurture it, and to let it fuel me forward to whatever my next step was going to be. So the thing to keep in mind here is that having goals and dreams and ambitions for your career or for your life in general, they're certainly not bad things. And sometimes I think we worry about what other people will think or will say about us if we have a desire for more, especially if what we already have is pretty dang good and people would kill to have what we have and to make the money that we make. But it's also important to see that sometimes having something that looks good on the surface or from the outside looking in, but that thing doesn't really feel fulfilling or allow you to work at your highest capacity or to, like I say, live up to your potential and create the impact that you want to create through your work, that just doesn't serve you. And I want to impress on you the point that life is abundant, life is rich, and you're allowed to want and to create exactly what you desire to have. So ambitions are not a bad thing. They're there to guide you and to fuel you in the direction that you're meant to go. So accept them and nurture them and allow them to play that kind of role in your professional life and in your life overall. Habit number 3, I didn't have a clear lifestyle plan. So thinking back to this idea of embracing my ambition, I've learned that one of the best ways to tap into this desire and to let it launch me forward is to get really, really clear on what I want and also to get super clear on why I want it. Underline the word why. All right, so let me explain that a little bit further. So if I want to make a career move so that I can make a more meaningful impact through my work, I didn't stop and ask myself why making that impact mattered to me so much. What was the cause that mattered to me the most, and how would pursuing making this impact through my work bring me closer to that personal goal or help me have a bigger impact on that cause that really mattered to me? Is, for example, my impact about helping women move into more leadership roles, for example? Think about it from that angle. What's the cause that you're most passionate about, and how can you connect that to and through your work? As another example, if I had an income goal, knowing exactly how I plan to use that money to create or to buy something for myself is the piece that I was missing. So for me, travel is a huge part of my life. So I needed to know that with this income boost that I was pursuing and that I wanted to have, my next thing was that I was booking a trip and I was getting on an airplane to Greece, or fill in the blank of where you may want to go. Or maybe I wanted to put $10,000 down on my mortgage or pay off my credit cards in full, or whatever it is. Just knowing how to pursue that professional goal so that it makes an impact on your life is the fuel that really roots and it grounds the desire and it gives it strength. So making that personal connection is incredibly powerful, and that's one thing that I was missing. It can't be just about doing the work for the sake of doing the work. It's got to be connected to something bigger and something that really truly matters to you on a personal level. Habit number 4, I did not power up. So one thing that I've learned is that career change can be tough. It's easy for our dreams and our goals to get lost in the shuffle of life. Everybody's busy, and in the shuffle of helping everyone around you to be successful. That's what we do. We help people. And I allowed this to happen too. And instead of using my natural determination and my grit to keep a really steady eye on what I wanted for myself, I eventually allowed distractions to take over. Now, to be super clear, I'm not saying that we shouldn't help other people, not at all, because we should. But when that comes at the price of you standing still time after time, year after year, you really have to pause and ask yourself if that's a price that you're willing to pay. And for me, I had to learn how to support and elevate my goals as much as I lift up everyone around me. And the big message that I want you to hear here is that self-sacrifice isn't as noble as it sounds, especially when it leads to feelings of disappointment or frustration or resentment. So I want to encourage you to power up and be persistently determined to create the career that totally and completely lights you up and allows you to live up to your full potential. Habit number 5, I did not celebrate myself. I was the one who overlooked the things that I was incredibly and massively talented at. I took them for granted, and in turn, that gave other people around me permission to and space to take them for granted too. Like, pretty classic, right? So for me, I had to learn for myself to see and hear and celebrate my own gifts, my talents, my accomplishments, and downplaying or overlooking myself didn't serve me, didn't serve my team, didn't serve my mission, didn't serve the company. At the end of the day, just nobody wins with that kind of approach. And I'm happy to say that I don't have that problem anymore. It's become really easy for me to say things like, I'm brilliant at helping people to get to the root of what's holding them back and coming up with solutions to fix it fast. And this talent that I have is key to how I approach my work as a coach and what makes me really, really good at what I do. It's easy for me to say things like that now, but that didn't come overnight. It comes with practice. And so I want to encourage you to get really good at seeing your talents as important pieces of your brand. Those are some of the building blocks that you'll need to build that magnetic and irresistible brand. And you can start really simply by writing down what you see as your biggest strengths and then start saying them out loud. You can say them to yourself at first if that feels most comfortable, or just start saying them to people, verbalize it. celebrate, the things that make you unique and the things that allow you to create the success that you've created. All right, so there you go. Those are the 5 habits that I had that kept me really stuck for years. So let me do a quick recap for you. So habit number 1, I didn't face the truth. Habit number 2, I didn't embrace my ambitions. Habit number 3, I didn't have a clear lifestyle plan. Habit number 4, I didn't power up. And habit number 5, I didn't celebrate myself. If you missed any of these, just listen once more and make sure you grab all of the notes around each of these 5 points. And I want to hear what you think. So which of these habits do you have on repeat today? Which one gets in your way the most? Just leave a comment here and let's keep the conversation going. I'd love to hear what you think. And a little sneak peek for you to next week's episode. There's more. I'll be sharing 5 more habits that I had that kept me stuck for way, way too long. So keep your eyes open for episode number 12 of Career Q&A for part 2 of this topic. And if you found this episode helpful at all, if you learned one thing or something got reinforced or confirmed for you, I'd love for you to share this message with one person today. We have a responsibility to help each other rise up, and by sharing this, you're doing your part. So please go ahead and share it with one person today that you can think of who might benefit from hearing this message. And the last thing before I wrap up for this week is that I'm inviting you to grab your copy of my new guide for high achieving career women. It's called Get Promoted Playbook, and it is completely free. In the guide, you'll get a summary of the 5 habits that I just talked through today so that you can have it in your back pocket, use it to help position yourself for a promotion, even if playing that political game, that corporate political game just isn't your thing. So all you have to do to get your copy is go to cindyharveyonline.com/playbook and download yours today. So that's it for now, my friend. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time.